In Rabindranath Tagore's famous work Chitra, we see the warrior princess Chitra. She is armed with a sword, she is armed with her bow and arrows, and she is as fierce as any of the young princes who live in the neighboring countries. She belonged to the kingly land of Manipur. The king of Manipur desired to have a son. He prayed fervently for a son, but he was blessed with a daughter. And this young girl, he brought her up as a prince. He taught her all the art of fighting, of warfare, and she became as brave and strong as any prince. But one day, as Chitra was walking in the forest, she saw the strongest of warriors, Arjuna, the greatest of the Pandavas. She instantly fell in love with Arjuna, and Tagore says that Chitra came home and kept aside her bow and arrows, she kept aside her sword, and she wore the weapons of a woman. She is said to have worn bangles and other ornaments. He mentions bangles, and she sets out into the forest without her weapons in search of the great Arjuna, so that she may make him fall in love with her. So here we see that in Indian traditional India, bangles and all ornaments, especially bangles, are very important. The very word bangle comes from the word bangli, which means glass in Hindi. So bangle is a contribution from the Hindi language to the English language. And all over India, in all the states, brides wear bangles everywhere. On all auspicious occasions, the brides are seen wearing bangles. There is the Sikh, the Punjabi bride who has red and white bangles which she does not remove for 40 days after her wedding. There is the Karnatakan bride who gifts glass bangles to other young women on her wedding, which is to show prosperity, it is to gift prosperity. So all over India, when there is a little baby born, the baby is gifted gold and black bangles. The black bangles signify that the evil eye does not visit her, while the gold bangle denotes prosperity. In the Natya Shastra, it is mentioned that a queen must always be drawn with valaya, which is again the word vala, meaning bangle. So bangle is a very significant part of Indian traditions. And of course, in all the Bollywood movies and all the Tollywood and every movie all over India, we see how the heroine runs in wearing a lehenga, wearing bangles, where she is seen being gifted bangles. And also it is considered in many of the Indian states that a woman may not buy her own bangles. It is auspicious that they be gifted to her by her mother, father, brother, lover. So, and again, so even as a gift, bangle is most frequently given. If we take the ancient history of bangles, we can go all the way up to the Mohenjo-daro. The famous dancing girl found in Mohenjo-daro, which is a very iconic and starting of civilization, is seen wearing bangles. So today we have a poem by Sarojini Naidu, The Bangle Sellers. But let us see that Sarojini Naidu, she does not talk only about bangles. First of all, she gives us an important detail, the bangle seller. She gives importance to the bangle seller, that poor person who is selling bangles for his livelihood. Bangle sellers are we who bear our shining loads to the temple fair. Who will buy this delicate bright, rainbow-tinted circles of light, lustrous tokens of radiant lives for happy daughters and happy wives? So here the bangle sellers are walking towards the temple fair. They have these big loads, and Sarojini Naidu calls them shining loads because these bangles shine. They are circles of light, according to her. Rainbow tinted. There is every color in this shiny load. They are made of glass and they are circle in shape. So rainbow tinted circles of light. They seem to be made of light. And who will buy these? The bangle seller is wondering as they walk to the temple fair. Who will buy this load from us? Who will today give us our livelihood? How much money will we earn today? Lustrous tokens of radiant lives. So these little circles of light, they are actually denoting the radiance of somebody's life. For happy daughters and happy wives. So they are calling out to the people in the fair saying, buy these for your wives and your daughters. They are tempting the people. Summer meet for a maiden's wrist, silver and blue as the mountain mist. So there are blue bangles. They are called silver and blue. They are so light and airy colored. They are given for a maiden. Some are flushed like the buds that dream on the tranquil brow of a woodland stream. So some are flushed. They are compared to a bud. And what does a bud do? A bud is about to bloom. So these may be bangles for a young woman on the threshold of girlhood, of maidenhood. Here, what do we see in our mind? We see a young girl who is going to be a young woman soon, whose dreams are going to come true. Some are aglow with a bloom that cleaves to the limpid glory of newborn leaves. So some of them are glowing. They are green and blue. They are glowing with that bloom that is seen on the limpid leaves. Here they see the transparent leaves, those leaves that are just born, that are so young and pure, just like a young girl who is on the threshold of becoming a woman, of discovering herself or seeing her own dreams. Some are like fields of sunlit corn, meet for a bride on her bridal morn. So some are yellow, it denotes the haldi ceremony. They are like sunshine on sunlit corn. So the haldi ceremony is where a bride is adorned in yellow. She is wearing yellow bangles. And her relatives are applying the turmeric paste on her, which is again stands for something auspicious in Indian tradition. Some like the flame of her marriage fire, or rich with the hue of her heart's desire. So some are like the flame of her marriage fire. They are saffron in color. They are vivid red in color. Red stands for desire, for prosperity, for strength. So each of these color has a meaning. Colors convey a sense of meaning. Red denotes prosperity and sacrifice, and green denotes peace and beauty. Blue, the mountain mist, is freedom and dreams. So tinkling, luminous, tender and clear, like her bridal laughter and bridal tear. So it is tinkling. So Sarojini Naidu is making us think of that tinkling sound of the bangles. They are luminous, they are shining, and they are tender and clear because you can see the glass is transparent. The bridal laughter is mentioned along with the bridal tear. So we know that in many of the states of India, it is a culture such that a bride is taken on the day of her wedding to her husband's house. So she is leaving the house of her girlhood, and that signifies the tears. At the same time, there is bridal laughter, for she is entering a new life with the man of her dreams. Some are purple and gold-flecked grey, for she who has journeyed through life midway. So some are purple and flecked with grey. So purple is a royal color. It is not the color of childhood. It is rather the color of womanhood. So Sarojini Naidu says that purple and grey are there for the matrons, the women who have seen and gone through certain stages of life. They have been daughters, they have been young women on the threshold of womanhood. They have then crossed into being mothers, they have raised children. For she who has journeyed through life midway, whose hands have cherished, whose love has blessed and cradled fair sons on her faithful breast. She has cradled fair sons, she is already a mother, and serves her household in fruitful pride and worships the gods at her husband's side. So she is a woman who is standing beside her husband and worshipping the gods, the deities of the house. She has done her household duties, she is bringing up her children. So here Sarojini Naidu also talks about the various stages in a woman's life. She is a daughter, she then becomes a wife, she becomes a bride, she becomes a wife, she goes on to become a mother, and so on. And at various stages of her life, her duties and her responsibilities also change. And that is what the bangles, the colors of the bangles signify. And yeah, so some of the devices used are auditory and visual imagery. Sarojini Naidu is very famous for her imagery. It is for her verbal imagery that Mahatma Gandhi called her the Nightingale of India. That her songs were filled with so much melody. Tinkling, the very word tinkling gives us a sense of auditory imagery. And then there is mountain mist, sunlit corn, limpid glory of newborn leaves. All this adds to the visual imagery. Then they are like rainbow tinted circles of light. So the comparison, so simile is also used in the poem. And something we should not forget, which Sarojini Naidu mentions right at the beginning of the poem and also in the very title of the poem, is the word the Bangle Sellers. Even more importance than those who are wearing the bangles, she is giving importance to the people who are selling it, to those who are making it. And very often in India, the people who make these glass bangles, they are very poor. They live in sordid conditions, and quite often in these factories, it is women and children who are making it. Even child labor was prevalent then. So Sarojini Naidu is making us think of the conditions of those workers also, along with celebrating Indian traditions and culture and talking about the beauty of the Indian bride who brings prosperity into her home, into the home she walks into. We must also be aware, or we are made to think of the sordid conditions in which these poor women and children and men are making these ornaments and walking perhaps barefoot to these temple fairs, hoping to earn a livelihood. So the bangle seller is also very important. Along with that, Sarojini Naidu tells us that they are singing and laughing. They are not showing the side of their life which is filled with hardships. Instead of that, they are smiling and trying to sell their wear. So Sarojini Naidu is a freedom fighter. She was a civil rights activist. She worked for the emancipation of women, and she was one of the most famous poets of Indian independence. Thank you.
The Bangle Sellers by Sarojini Naidu. Bangle sellers are we who bear our shining loads to the temple fair. Who will buy this delicate bride? Rainbow-tinted circles of light, lustrous tokens of radiant lives, for happy daughters and happy wives. Some are meet for a maiden's wrist, silver and blue as the mountain mist. Some are flushed like the buds that dream on the tranquil brow of a woodland stream. Some are aglow with the bloom that cleaves to the limpid glory of new-born leaves. Some are like fields of sunlit corn, meet for a bride on her bridal morn. Some like the flame of her marriage fire, or rich with the hue of her heart's desire, tinkling luminous, tender and clear, like a bridal laughter and bridal tear. Some are purple and gold-flecked grey, for she who has journeyed through life midway, whose hands have cherished, whose love has blessed, and cradled fair sons on her faithful breast, and serves her household in fruitful pride, and worships the gods at her husband's